Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dovid19 here, and today I want to talk about something a little bit political. So, recently, supposedly, Elon Musk's mom, May Musk, was on Fox and Friends. And during the interview, um, what was her name? Her name is Rachel Campos Duffy, the interviewer, was asking Mrs. May Musk about the birth rate problem in the world. Well, how did this. And there's been a lot of controversy around it. If you look it up on YouTube, you cannot even find uh, the interview when you look up May Musk birth rates, and even on Google, when you look up May Musk birth rates Fox, what pops up first is an article essentially trying to disprove or call it a false rumor. But she did say what I'm about to say that she said. So, what did she say? She essentially said, when asked about declining birth rates, well, you know what? Let's give. There's a lot of background to this because it's more than just a conversation between two people. So what had happened was on Twitter or X, some guy, I guess, I'm not sure who his name is, but they call him a Vittorio, and his account name is apparently Intellectus. I'll link the article that I'm reading this from in the description. But on X, apparently this guy was talking about birth rates, and he goes on this, I personally would say, right wing tirades about how people don't want to have kids and how people are using kids are expensive as an excuse to not have kids. And I say right wing because back when I was a teenager, I used to be all right winger. You know, I would watch Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, and I would agree with them, you know, without realizing that they are essentially only fighting for themselves. And they're fighting to keep their positions in wealth and power and comfort. They're fighting to keep those positions and to enhance those positions while really not giving, I would say, a damn about anyone below their position or anyone that's not aligned with their beliefs. But I've changed now, and I have different views. And let me just read to you what this guy tweeted. And keep in mind, Elon Musk himself responded to this tweet, and his mother further continues this line of thinking. I'm not sure if she tweeted as well, but she definitely spoke about it in the interview. But this is what the guy tweeted. The guy said, quote, "The kids are too expensive argument is a convenient cope. People claiming," and you believe that? He just says a convenient cope. He doesn't even say a coping mechanism. So you see the maturity level of somebody like this tweeting this. So, you know, really only teenagers and even younger people in their 20s use cope as. I'm sure he's not trying to use it as an insult. But it's just really strange to me that this man, who supposedly has some weight, considering that Elon Musk himself responded to his tweet. But it's just strange that he uses cope instead of coping mechanism. But anyways, he goes on to say, people claiming they can't afford children are usually rationalizing deeper issues. They just don't want them. Having children is as expensive as you choose to make it. And for all of human history, People with far fewer resources manage to raise families. The problem isn't financial, it's cultural. So that is a big argument that people on the right and the Republicans, they love to use. It is never financial. It's never about the money for them. Even though it's always about the money for them, it's when they talk about it, it's never about the money. It's always cultural problems. It's always a problem with the cultural. We must preserve the culture. No. You want to preserve your money and your resources to make that money. Anyways, he goes on to say, and this is where the conspiracy crap is trying to get in, and hopefully you're starting to understand why people like this shouldn't be taken seriously. He goes on to say, we live in a society that has systematically psyoped and brainwashed people into believing children are a burden, not a blessing. Women are told that motherhood is a sacrifice and a hindrance to their career, as if chasing corporate promotions or vanity metrics is more meaningful than creating life. Well, here's the thing, X person. You need careers to get money to create life. Oh, people have done it with so much less in the past. Yes, well, housing and food didn't cost as much as they do today. And while there may have been systems in place that may have kept the poor, it's not like people weren't complaining, or people in the lower rungs of society weren't complaining or weren't disenfranchised as well in the past. You know, yes, people have made it work, and I'm sure people will continue to make it work, but that doesn't mean that it's not something that we can complain and something that we can make better. And having a kid is a giant decision, you know. Just thinking about all the things, all the expenses that you spend on yourself on your day-to-day life, and even on a monthly basis, will add a whole nother person to that, you know. If you live with a wife, or if you have a significant other, they probably add to your monthly expenses as well. Well, just think of a whole nother person who can't wipe for themselves, they can't use the bathroom, they can't have a job, they can't hold their own. Imagine having to take care of somebody for years, you know, maybe up till they're 16 when they can find like a part-time job. But it's a huge financial burden, and a huge financial responsibility. So it's not something that people cope about. Well, it's not a convenient cope, you know. Kids are expensive is not a convenient cope argument. It's a reality. Kids are expensive, okay? Formula, which is a necessity for some, can be price fixed because it is like I said, it's a necessity. Like pads or tampons, they can be heavily taxed, and I'm not meaning like your traditional tax. I'm talking about necessity tax. Like, just because you need it and I know you're gonna buy it, I can charge you more. Like housing. So that's what the guy on Twitter says, and this is what Elon responded. So Fortune says, to that, Elon himself commented, quote, "People have been brainwashed into civilization suicide." And that is so hilarious coming from Elon Musk, the guy who wants to accelerate the world into an AI and a robot revolution. This is the guy who wants self-driving cars, the guy who wants Tesla robots in every single household. He wants to replace humans with robots. He wants to replace work with AI. And he has the gall and audacity to say people have been brainwashed into civilization suicide. Like, dude, take a step back and realize what you're saying. Realize who you are. You are a forefront of the AI quote unquote revolution. I'm just saying that as I'm just self-proclaiming that AI revolution because it's been accelerating a lot lately. AI. But seriously, civilization suicide, that is so ironic coming from him. Okay. So it does look like his mom actually responded to Musk himself on X as well. And remember, guys, I cannot find this interview of Fox, this Fox interview where she talks about birth rate on YouTube. Um, what comes up is just bullcrap about like this video. May Musk reveals what Elon and Barron Trump bonded over during Thanksgiving. It's like nobody cares. Literally nobody cares. I'm looking up her interview on Fox and when she talks about birth rate, but no, they in order for YouTube to appease the advertisers and where the money comes from, they must cover this up. And also, at the top of the video is this video talking about how the birth rate talk is about maintaining whiteness. And while that can be a legitimate argument, I personally don't see that. And I personally believe that they are putting this kind of content at the forefront of search pages and, maybe just in media in general, because they want to create an enemy out of people who think oppositely from them. And how do you do this? How do you make an enemy out of reasonable people? So how do you make an enemy about people saying that that children are expensive and that it's really hard to have children in this economy? Well, you take the most extreme idea or the most extreme side of the spectrum of that kind of ideology, which is, as you can see, maintaining whiteness, which is how some people think that these actions and this kind of political talk is all about. And they get an idea that is so extreme that no reasonable person would agree with, and they essentially trying to brand the entire ideology or the entire group of people who think in that certain way as having those thoughts. So they would group me as someone who thinks that having children is expensive this day and age. They would group me with this person who thinks that Elon's mom talking about birth rates is about maintaining whiteness, which I do not agree with. But that was just a little tangent that I wanted to go off on. But here is May Musk's actual tweet. She replies to Elon. Having children is the greatest gift in your life. When Elon was born, we were in a small 2-bedroom apartment overlooking a garage. When Kimball was born, we moved to a 2-bedroom apartment with a view. When Tosca was born, we moved to a 2-bedroom house, all in the same area. We didn't go out for dinner nor to the movies. As my former husband was promoted at the engineering firm, we upgraded our lifestyle. Bro, boom, there you go. What are you talking about? How are you saying you never went out to dinner or to the movies when you're saying your husband is an engineer? You are actually brain dead retarded saying that you upgraded your lifestyle. See, in the Fox interview, she's trying to attribute her moving up in life with having kids. And yes, I understand the basic argument is once you have kids, you have a need to upgrade your income in order to raise those kids. But the thing is, it's not that way for a lot of people. Not everybody has an engineer husband who can upgrade their lifestyle by being promoted. Okay? And plus, wasn't your husband an owner of an emerald mine? You have got me so fucked up. Like, what are you talking about? How are you claiming to be this poor person? Oh, I was living in a small 2-bedroom apartment. Oh, I was looking over a garage. I was so poor. Woe is me. Oh yeah, but my husband, he got promoted at the engineering firm, and then he opened his own engineering firm, and then But it was because of our children. That's why you guys should have children, and you guys need to keep producing workers for my son's company. And this is not obviously what she says, but this is the basic gist of why they want, or at least this is my personal opinion as to why they want people to keep having children, even though it is not economically viable. And that's also why I also believe excuse me. And I also believe that's why Musk is so geared towards having an AI future. But the rest of May's tweet, she goes, referring to her husband, she goes, he then opened his own engineering firm and we could move to a beautiful home in a better area. Children give you your greatest joy in the world. I never felt like I was sacrificing anything. Well, to be fair, did you have to work, May Musk? Were you working at all, or were you a stay-at-home mom because your husband was an engineer? You probably never felt like you were sacrificing anything because you never felt like you had anything. You never felt like you had the need for anything, the need to have anything. And that's probably me oversimplifying. And what I'm trying to say is you've probably never had to struggle. There you go. That's what I'm trying to say. You've probably never had to struggle and felt like you've had to sacrifice for the betterment of your children. Because once again, your husband is an engineer, and I believe he also owned an emerald mine in South Africa. So, you're stupid. And it's just really funny to me, guys. It's just really funny how it's super funny how people born into wealth try to give financial advice as if they're made from nothing. Anyways, she finishes off her tweet by saying, as soon as I could afford some help in the house, I opened my dietetics practice in my home. My career was on hold for a short while, but so worth it. Have children add value to your life. Which is something I can agree on. Children do add value to your life. They add something to look forward to. I have numerous nephews and nieces myself, and they all bring absolute joy into my life. But like I said, I just do not believe I am economically, or it is economically viable to have children in this day and age. So that is my choice. And you know, what's wrong with that? The initial tweet by this one random guy is demonizing people for not wanting to have kids. Or I guess he's kind of mad that people are using the kids are too expensive argument. But like, who cares? Why do you care so much? I really don't understand why you care so much about other people having children or not. Oh, actually, I do know why. I do know. So what initially prompted me to make this video is this video by another YouTuber called Tabitha Speaks Politics, and I'm going to post a little screen cap of her video here, and I'll link it in the description as well. And what Tabitha mentions, or I believe her theory as to why they're talking birth rate, is because a declining birth rate means less workers to work in the future. Obviously, right? And, you know, you may not think about it now, but the declining birth rate do have long-term consequences. You know, Japan is already experiencing a lack of workers, or a little deficit of worker because of their declining birth rate. But the thing is, we need workers in the future to operate companies and factories and whatnot. But if we don't have babies, we're not birthing babies, we're not going to have those workers in the future. And thus we're going to either have to I'm talking about companies, corporations. They're most likely either going to have to use AI, which I think is, and robots, which I think is the most likely scenario, or they're going to have to create jobs in which less people can do more work. Like one person can do the job of 3 people, which is going to suck for the workers. And I don't think the workers are going to like that either, and I think there's going to be problems of fighting for fair wages. Much like how Amazon and Starbucks are doing now. And I'm not gonna lie, Amazon, people at Amazon and Starbucks make bank. At least in California, where Starbucks pays $20 minimum and Amazon is paying like 22. But you know, I've never worked at Amazon. I've never worked at Starbucks. So maybe the work is just that bad that they really feel that they need the pay increase. Which, you know what, I'm not arguing against. You know, you need that pay increase, grab that pay increase. I'm all for it. But the companies are not going to be all for it, and they're going to want to push back against these higher wages. So how do we solve the problem of more specialized people doing the work of 3 people in the future and having to compensate them? Well, we make more workers. We want more workers, you know. The more workers we have that are able to do these jobs, the less we have to pay them because these workers are so interchangeable. So overall, this situation and this whole news, I would say cycle, I guess, is just honestly ridiculous. It is, and the main takeaway is, do not let billionaires tell you how you should live your life, especially if they were born into the wealth or they never really worked for their wealth. And that's a majority. I mean, that's a really good amount of billionaires. Elon Musk, his dad had emerald mines in South Africa. He did not become self-made in his garage or in his basement or whatever he says. Elon Musk was an illegal immigrant when he came into America. He was born in South Africa, guys, and he came into America illegally, right? And now he's on President Donald Trump's. Now he's the first lady, Elon Musk. And now First Lady Elon Musk is on his knees and he's on Donald Trump's leash. And now he's arguing, and you know, he doesn't directly say this, but you can tell by the subtext that he wants the darkies out. He wants the illegal immigrants out because it is such a problem, because who knows why. Even though the illegal immigrants do all the jobs that Americans don't want to do for less pay, and the entire infrastructure of America was built on slavery and fucking illegal immigration for low wages. But you know what? Yeah, let's kick out these people that will do the low-paying jobs and who essentially build up our entire country, because all we want here in America is tech bros who sit behind their desks, who look at charts, and who buy and sell and just do nothing all day. Because that's what America wants. And they have to be white. Okay? I forgot to mention that. They have to be white. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed my little rant about this little news story that I saw. I apologize, I haven't been uploading a lot lately. It's just that I have this one video that I've been working on for a few months, and I have been absolutely lacking in completing it. And I also have a few other ideas for videos that I'd like to get started on, but I'm a bit of at an impasse as to whether I should keep working on that video, because I don't think it's going to be getting many views after I post it, but I think I'm going to complete it anyways. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I hope you guys, I hope I picked your brain for a good amount of time, and you guys learned something from this video. I hope you all have a great day, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, because it's almost Christmas. Deuce.
And you were recently getting a lot of attention because there was a comedian online who said, listen, I get it. People don't want to have, they're talking about the birth rate, which your son talks a lot about, it declining and the problems for humanity with that. And you said to his response about it being too expensive to have kids, you said, that's not the way to think about this. Explain.
Well, you know, when I had my children, we were in a 2-bedroom small apartment overlooking a garage. And then the next year, I have the second child, we had an apartment with a view. And then by the third child, we could get a 2-bedroom house. And you just, you know, as you move on, you start doing better and better, but people, you know, you don't have to go to the movies. You don't have to go out for dinner. You can just spend time with the most wonderful gifts you can ever have.